Happy Valentine's Day, yogi friends. Come and join me on the mat. We're going to explore a heart-opening sequence today, so twists and lots of back bends. Let's warm into this with one sun salutation, and there'll be some variations involved in this one. So big toes together, inhale it up. Exhale, coming forward, bending the knees as you need to so that you get that lengthening in the spine. Inhale, half lift, maybe hands to forehead. Exhale, folding it in. And then let's walk it back to a straight arm plank. Holding here for a moment just to feel into that core strength. Nice. And then knees land. Lowering yourself down to your belly. Let's find some rolling cobras here. So forehead is tapped down. I'm going to inhale it up, peeling away any amount, right? Just warming into this. Exhale it down. Inhale, peeling up. Exhale, releasing to the floor. Inhale it up one more time. And exhale down. Let's fold the forearms, let the forehead rest there, bend the knees, and we're going to shift the lower limbs side to side like windshield wipers, just to release that little bit of work. Beautiful. I'm going to take my right hand and just slide it out along the floor and then roll over onto my right side. So this is an upper pec stretch. Just finding some nice space there. One more breath here. And exhale, releasing back to the belly. Same thing, left side, rolling over onto the left side of the body. Feeling that nice opening across the upper chest. Left side. Beautiful. Back to the belly. Let's tent the fingers just outside the mat. And take some rolling cobras with this wide stance. Inhale it up. You've got this little support you've built here for these wide cobras, and exhale it down. Again, inhaling up. And exhaling down. Inhaling up, feeling all that openness across the upper chest, and exhale it down. Hands underneath the shoulders, all fours, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let's pedal it out here just to warm into our practice a little more. And heels coming towards the floor, pressing hands into the ground, feeling all that beautiful stretch in the shoulders. Enjoying one more breath here. Nice. And then we're going to walk it forward, feet in between the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, pressing earth to come up. Exhale, hands to heart. Beautiful. Let's come down onto the back and look at some rolling bridges and other pelvic tilts. Let's start just with some pelvic tilts to kind of warm into, to get things moving there. So on the exhale, I'm going to press the lower back into the floor. On the inhale, I'm going to allow it to arc up away from the floor. So exhale, posterior tilt of the pelvis, tail coming up this way. Inhale, anterior tilt of the pelvis one more time. Exhale. And inhale. Neutral pelvis, taking the heels of the hands and finding the top of the thighs, so the groin creases there. Heels are drawn in towards the buttocks. And I'm going to press into those groin creases so that I'm forcing the pelvis to make that anterior tilt. And we're going to hold here. Holding for a few breaths. So just feeling that arch in the lumbar spine. Enjoying one more breath here. And then we'll release, pour the lumbar spine into the floor, knees float up and hug those shins into the body. So this, taking it in the opposite direction. Feet as wide as the mat. Let's release that with a little windshield wiper action here. So twisting the spine. Nice. All right, heels in towards the buttocks. I'm going to sweep the arms up and back and lift the pelvis so the tail is pointing to the backs of the knees. On the exhale, I'll reverse that. Imagine your spine is just sinking into wet sand. You're making an impression in the sand and then you'll hug it in at the end. Let's peel the shoulders up, just find a little core engagement there. And again, feet flat. Inhale it up, floating the pelvis, holding, and exhale comes in. We release down, melting into the ground, pour the lower back into the ground, and hug those shins in, nose to knees. Feet find the ground, wide as the mat, and windshield wipers here just to release the lower back. Nice. Next one we're going to hold. So again, I'll bring those heels in. This time I'm going to keep the arms alongside the torso. So pelvis lifting up, can walk the shoulder blades together. And we're going to hold here for a bit. So you can feel that engagement of the gluteals. That's sort of what launches the pelvis up and kind of holds us there. Enjoying one more breath here. And then exhale, let's melt it down. Cross the ankles. We're going to rock it up and find a little release in Matsyendrasana or Lord of the Fishes pose. So left leg I've got on the ground. It could also be straight out. Right leg, and I feel both sitting bones grounding. Inhale up with the left arm. Exhale, I'm hugging that right knee. My right hand is a little prop behind my back. On the next exhale, I start that journey into the twist. Inhale, releasing slightly. And exhale into the twist again. Next inhale, I'm going to come all the way forward and reverse the legs. So right leg underneath or straight, left leg on top. Sweeping up with right hand. Exhale, hugging that left knee into the torso. Inhale, next exhale, I'm going to start my twist. Inhale, releases any amount. And exhale, twist. Inhale, unwinding. And I'm going to lower back down. Let's do that slowly to engage the core again, kind of through like a boat pose. So holding for breath here, feeling your strength, and then lowering down. Nice. Drawing the heels in again. And this time, you might repeat what we just did, the bridge pose, or you could follow me into Urdhva Dhanurasana if you're feeling ready for that. So hands, fingertips pointing to the shoulders, and they're up on top. I'm going to start kind of the same way. I went into bridge. So inhale, and tail pointing to backs of the knees. Now you could hold it right here and just explore this part of the pose, or press into the hands and you come up to the top of the head, but don't run any weight through the head and neck. I'm holding myself with my arms. And then straightening the elbows. Finding a few breaths here. Now, even though we're in a big spinal arch, try to think of the opposite. So think of the tail coming towards the backs of the knees. Just a little subtle opposite that we mix in. And then I'll come down out of that the way I went in. Beautiful. Stretch the legs long, arms overhead, big inhale. Exhale, I'm going to bend that right knee, draw it into the chest, and then draw it over to the left. So I'm going to roll onto the outside of my left hip, rearrange my shoulders, and find a few breaths here in this supported spinal twist. So nice. We're creating all these nice lines of stretch in the connective tissue. And then just following the breath and feeling how it kind of, it's starting to untangle maybe some of those little congested spots that we all have. On the next inhale, I'll come back to the back and stretch the legs long, arms overhead. Again, big inhale here. Exhale, bending left knee, drawing that knee in towards the chest, and then I'll draw it to the right. So I'm rolling over onto my right outer hip, rearranging the shoulders. So shoulder blades are more or less snuggling into the ground. And finding some breaths here, following that breath wave. You might even just kind of sigh it out. Release. Beautiful. Coming back to the back. Let's cross the ankles. I'm going to rock myself up and onto the belly. So however you get there, it's all good. Here we are. Let's find a nice locust pose. So beautiful for strengthening the back body, not a big back bend, but big back strengthener. So I'm going to start by reaching my hands back. Maybe they'll find each other behind my back, or perhaps I could have like a belt or a little towel or something if they're not meeting, or I could just reach back. Inhale, peeling the chest up, floating the legs. Now I like to look down, so my face is like looking down, gentle eyes, and there's no tension in the back of my neck. And so the gaze is instrumental in that. Like if I'm looking up, then I feel a lot more crunching in the back of the neck. Let's avoid that. Let's find 2 more breaths here. Such a beautiful pose. Beautiful back bend. Exhale, hands underneath the shoulders. I'm going to push up to all fours. And this time I'm going to find some barrel rolls to release that work. So just creating a big circle. Imagine the belly button, just kind of creating a big circle. So you're getting into the side body and our positions of flexion and extension of the spine, taken in both directions. Nice. And let's come back down to the belly. So again, you could take Shalabhasana, locust, or follow me into bow pose. I'm going to reach the hands back, bend the knees, find the ankles. So inhale lifts the chest, and then I kick those legs back into the hands. Now once again, we're in a back bend, of course, but think also of the tail coming through the legs, so it's kind of neutralizing a little bit that back bend. Nice. Enjoying one more breath here. Again, my gaze is down. And then exhale, I'll release that. Coming to all fours. And tucking the toes. We're going to find a little flow here, just pressing back gently and forward. Bending those elbows, drawing the elbows into the side body. And pressing it back. So again, just finding a little release from that back bend. Nice. And then we'll take a look at Ustrasana or camel pose. So if you've got blocks, you could enlist them to make it a little bit easier. And if I'm using the blocks, I'll place them back there just on the outsides of the feet. So this means that when I go back, see how close it is. I don't have to go far. I'll demonstrate that first. A safe way, I think, to come into Ustrasana is to really use the quads. So I'm going to reach my hands forward. Let's practice the hinge. So just hinging back. So I'm keeping the body straight in a line. There's no back bend here. Just using the quad strength to go forward and back. Yeah? So once you feel that, let's use it to go back, stay there, let your hands drop. Ah, I can feel the blocks, right? So here I am, still no back bend, and then I'm going to, once that's secure, I will start to bring the pelvis forward, looking up at the ceiling. Some people like to let the head go back. I'm one of the people who likes to look at the ceiling. And then to come out, same way, we went in. So I'm just going to reverse it back, and now engage those quads, let them pull you up. Very safe way to get in and out. Doesn't stress the lower back. So that's with the blocks. We can also do this with the toes tucked. So as I go back, again, the heels are going to be more easily accessible. Or the more traditional iteration of this would have the tops of the feet flat. So I'll do this one this time. You do whichever one is working for you. So we'll come back and then find those heels. Then bring the pelvis forward, initiating the back bend. I'm going to hold it here for a little bit. Now again, making tail coming between the legs. That will just help to stabilize your spinal extension. Doing one more breath here. And then we'll exit by engaging the quads, coming back, and then let those quads pull you up out of the pose. Once again, finding all fours, and you can do the forward and back thing we did last time, or you could tuck the toes, float the knees, and take it that way. So this is a little more strengthening from a crouch to a push-up. Crouch, push up, just finding some release from that back bending work. Nice. Knees land. Okay, so sitting in Virasana, you might also sit up on a block if that's easier on your knees and your ankles. And I'm just going to take a Virasana twist here. So inhale, both arms up. Exhale, I'm twisting to the right. So this is a small twist. I'll let those arms come down. One lands, left hand finds the right thigh, just above the knee, and a little twist to the right. And then let's take it in the other direction. So inhale, the arms up. Exhale, right hand is going to just land, and left hand just behind the back on the floor. Little twist. Again, just finding that release from the work we did and coming forward. Let's find our way onto our back to explore just a little bit of spinal flexion before we end the practice. So here we are again on our backs. I'm going to float the legs and just hug the shins into the body so you feel that lumbar spine just pouring into the ground. Hands find knees. Glue your knees together, and then let's find some circles here around the sacral area. Just massaging it out, and in the other direction as well. Finding release in the lower back. Once again, just gently squeezing the shins towards the torso, peeling up the upper back. Sweet. And then from here, we're going to just lower ourselves down into Shavasana. So allow the legs to roll out to the side. Arms, palms up. Let's find a little release in the neck just by gently rolling the head side to side on the floor. And coming back to neutral. You can imagine that the muscles are soft, they're fluid, they're flowing off of the bones, that the bones are drawn into the earth, into gravity's embrace. Face is soft, throat is soft. Everything releases and relaxes. You can stay right here for as long as you have time for. I'm just going to roll over onto my side, finding a little coiled up side-lying balasana for a breath or two. And then pushing up to a seated position. Taking a moment here to find the breath. So sending much love out to all those tiny hearts beating in the darkness, sometimes in the light, dancing. Happy Valentine's Day. Namaste.